streaming.
Hey everyone, it's that time again this week for another episode of the Heelcast. Joining me tonight, we got the man, the undefeated one, Goldberg. Goldberg, what's going on?
What's going on, brother?
Also joining me tonight, making his long-awaited return of the dude, AEW dude, what's going on?
Am I here? God, it's been so long. I feel like I've been quarantined from the show. We just haven't been able to get our time straight. We were going to record last night, couldn't get it done. But I am ecstatic to be back and talking wrestling. It's a home sweet home.
Yes, and joining us in spirit tonight, because his business probably didn't burn down to the ground. Yes, the one RVE, he's joining us in spirit, but hopefully we'll actually get him on in person in the next couple of weeks.
So folks, I gotta throw this out there since Hurls already mentioned it. RVE legitimately told us, okay, we should be rooting and hoping that his business burns to the ground to get him on the Heelcast. This is a true story. This is an actual text. It happened. So everybody in your prayers tonight, say a prayer for RVE's business that it goes up in flames because he wants to come back on the Heelcast, and that's the only way it's going to happen.
He might be the only one that's praying for their business to get burned down, but
I know, right?
But since we're on that, thoughts and prayers to everyone on the West Coast dealing with the fires. I'm sure, seen from the pictures in San Francisco. Pretty scary sight, I'd imagine. So, thoughts and prayers. Obviously, RVE doesn't need them because he wants his place of work to burn down. But yeah, so there's that. But let's get our plugs in for the week. Definitely want to give a shout out to Wrestling with Wrestling, Andre Corbeil. Check him out on YouTube. He promotes the Heelcast. Longtime friend of ours, longtime promoter. So check out Wrestling with Wrestling. A lot of cool stuff on there. Also check out the People's Championship Wrestling. Follow him on Twitter. He's got good stuff going on. And ImpactAsylum.net. Please check them out. They've been a long time supporter of the Heelcast.
Big supporter.
Yep. Check them out. AEW, dude, you have any other plugs you want to plug?
No, but we got a who was it that died today? The midget from the early on TNA. I want to give him a shout out. I just can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank.
I would be remiss if we didn't mention the longtime voice behind some of those early TNA pay-per-views. I don't know if you guys saw that, Barry Scott.
Barry Scott, I heard that one too, man.
Yeah, and what a voice on that guy. Iconic.
So I mean, give those guys a shout out, prayers to the families.
Yeah, Barry Scott was actually doing work with Impact these past few months. Actually, I believe he did some work for Slammiversary. So
yeah,
that was kind of unexpected.
He did an open for Moose. When Moose started bringing the TNA belt back around. So that was pretty cool.
Yep. I mean, he was iconic in the way TNA presented their product back then, and even at times now. So that's a big loss.
Psycho Dwarf. Yeah. Puppet the Psycho Dwarf, Hurls. That's
who
I was talking about.
Into a show, or wasn't that him? I think he brought a gun. I think one of his angles was with a gun or something.
I mean, probably.
He's psycho. He is a psycho. So
yeah, right.
I mean, in typical Hurls fashion, I have to ask this question: was he the midget beating off in the trash can?
You know, I lost track of midgets beating off in the trash can. There's just so many of them. I'm not sure. If it was him or not.
I mean, I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
But I'm kind of glad I wasn't there. But in some ways, you know, it might have. I'm talking about dead guy. We're talking about dead guys beating up in trash cans. Look, the purpose of this was to give a shout out to the family and to mourn the poor guy's death. I mean, he wasn't that old. I mean, even when you look at Barry Scott, I mean, he was only 65. He might even only be 64. Yeah. These are young guys, and unfortunately, you know, Puppet the Psycho Dwarf, you know, those folks, they have health issues the rest of us don't have to deal with. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly how old he was off the top of my head here. I'll probably look it up, but still, I mean, what a shame to lose somebody who, you know, was young still. And beat off in a trash can potentially. I mean, yeah, on TV.
Said. Well said.
It made Hurls feel like more of a man as he was doing it. I'm just saying.
Props to him for sure.
There we go. We just took a heartfelt shout out and yeah.
No, apparently Puppet has a GoFundMe for his funeral arrangements. So, I'm trying to find out his age, but all I see is a GoFundMe. He needs help paying for his funeral.
Hopefully GoFundMe leaves that one up. Unlike a guy from Illinois named Kyle Rittenhouse. But anyways, that's a different story for a different time. Let's get into the news here. Not a lot of news, but we do have some. WWE has released a few people today, and there's possibly going to be more cuts. We got 3 names here. Gerald Briscoe, one of Vince McMahon's stooges, also a longtime wrestler, trainer, coach, pretty much everything in WWE. We also have IRS, Mike Rotunda, you know, agent, wrestler, WCW wrestler. He pretty much did it all as well. And a former TNA Knockouts Tag Team champion, Sarita, has also been released. What's your thoughts, Goldberg?
Not many. A little surprised that Gerald Briscoe would get let go after 84 years of service. That comes as a bit of a surprise. But I read his tweet, though, and he did say he's still going to be doing some work with WWE behind the scenes. So something weird about that one. I didn't even know Sarita was on WWE. Missed the boat on that one. So, not much thoughts on that.
I mean, Gerald was, he'd been with the company for legitimately, I think was with the company for 37 years, and he's only like, 73 or something like that, so it was more than half of his life. But I mean, dude was like, he's like 73 friggin' years old. At some point in time, it's time to collect Social Security, move into a condo, and live out your days playing shuffleboard with the old folks. So, again, I don't want to sound like that guy, but it is time to retire. And I think that Vince just called him up and was like, look, man, it's time to collect Social Security. And so Gerald sounds like he's cool with it. He sounds like he's like, you know what, it's probably time for me to collect Social Security. And if you have a special project and you need me for it, and, cool. And Vince is probably like, all right. And Vince probably cut him a check for a severance, because as big a dick as Vince is, and I hate Vince more than anybody, Gerald was one of the guys that helped put Vince where Vince is, and he probably, gave him a little retirement bonus, something like that to get him out the door. That's probably not that big of a deal, IRS, on the other hand, let's face it, Bray Wyatt to AEW confirmed. Right, start the rumor right here. Sarcastic rumor. I haven't seen it yet, but I've written it at least a couple of times in hopes that some idiot will take it and tear off with it, and I'm sure that people are dumb enough to come up with that on their own. I don't know whether I really care if he's there or not. Sarita never impressed me when she was in TNA or Impact. I think it was actually TNA at the time. It was what it was called. Don't need her anywhere. Maybe they could send her to AEW and she could help some of them women out, and Nyla Rose too. because that division is really just hideous. So, yeah. People get laid off. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, obviously, and it's obviously a sign of the times, but at the same time, there's, these I would assume most of them were making pretty good money, so I would assume that they're going to be at least well off, so to speak.
I don't know about Sarita, but
yeah, she was only a coach at the Performance Center, I guess, was her role there. So I'm not real sure on how much she was making, but
yeah, it should be fine simply because it's, the amount of money they were probably paying her. It's probably not that difficult to get another job to replace it. So, I mean,
I thought Gerald Briscoe at this point he should be about 90 years old. I can't believe he's only 73.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah, that is a little surprising.
Long time.
I mean, the guy's got some great sperm. He gave us Wes Briscoe. That talent.
True. The Aces and Eights wouldn't have existed without him. So
exactly.
You know who always shocks me to how young he is? Bob Backlund.
How old is he?
He's like only 71, dude.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. I would have thought 80s. Yeah. Those guys were like old young. Like they were always old.
But just to put it in perspective, Hogan's 67. I would have imagined that Bob Backlund was like 93. Like you know what I mean? Like he was a generation before Hogan, but they're only 4 years apart in age.
That is a little surprising, especially since Bob Backlund, what was he, champion in 77 or 78, somewhere around there.
Well, I mean, 4 years later, Hogan was a champ, so it's not completely unreasonable. But
that's true.
But Bob Backlund, he had the longest career that like nobody remembers anything he did after the 80s, but he stuck around.
Like because they kind of made him a joke after that, though. They kind of turned him into a comedy act a little bit.
He won the world title though, like what, 94, 95? Like WWF.
I just remember him being in Royal Rumbles and being made a joke of after that.
All right, so when did Bob Backlund win his last championship?
It had to have been 94, 95 because that's who Diesel beat to get his year-long reign in WWF.
So what do you think, Goldberg?
Let's see. It's he won his last title. You know what? I don't know. He's won so many goddamn titles.
Dude, he won that 24/7 title like last year, man.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Oh.
I believe the answer to that is going to be 2019 if somebody looks it up. Wow. Might even be 2020.
I'm on his Wikipedia, and it's still hard to find. This guy's the longest Wikipedia page. Here's his TNA stint is on here.
Oh. Now that was funny stuff.
Oldest champion was actually Pat Patterson at 78.
I remember that. I did see a YouTube clip of that.
Oh my God! All right, we're way the hell off topic. Not that we had a topic, but wow.
Before we move on from age, let me just say one more that's surprising. And I guess, I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe you guys it's not, but
thought he won it.
When Ddp turns 80, he'll look 50. Him being 64 years old, he looks damn good for his age.
Yeah, and when he was 50, he looked 64, dude.
Right. That's another one. That's another guy. They all look old when they're young. I mean, Hulk Hogan, when he was younger, looked 50.
Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ric
God.
Flair, too. Yeah.
My father used to say Ric Flair he's old. And Ric Flair really wasn't all that old.
Right. Because he had that white hair, I guess.
Yeah.
Hogan had no hair.
Right.
I love Hulk Hogan going to court wearing the bandana, keeping kayfabe in the court. Beautiful.
But yeah, no, Bob Backlund, to me, was a guy that won those world titles basically when wrestling wasn't popular. And
are you fucking kidding me? Santa Claus was a 24/7 champion?
Oh, God.
Santa Claus?
Oh, WWE. Even worse than the hardcore title.
That idea was good for about 2 weeks, and they're still running with it. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Move on.
Just get rid of it. I mean,
give R-Truth a real angle and move on. It's over. It's not funny. Nobody's laughing anymore.
Man, I didn't see Bob. I might be wrong about Bob Backlund in there. He might not actually want it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
What a letdown.
R-Truth has been the champion 39 times.
God.
All right,
imagine Rockstar Spud had to win that thing quite a bit too.
It's time to move on. It's time to move on.
Yeah. Let's move on. Sticking with WWE, there was basically an uproar, I guess, with the roster. Basically, WWE has, I guess, banned them or limited them with their third-party usage. And basically what that means is they cannot use their WWE names on Twitch, on YouTube, on whatever outside ventures they have. I guess it caused a stir with the roster, and some wrestlers are not happy about it. My thoughts are, you know what, it's pretty stupid, but I guess they're maybe trying to keep a little kayfabe. I don't know. I don't really know what the real reason is on this. You know, AEW dude, I'm sure you have a good take on this because I really don't.
I mean, I get it. You know, wrestling sucks because kayfabe's lost. Wrestlers don't respect the business anymore. And WWE has a multi-billion-dollar brand that. Oh, and this is the greatest thing, folks, ever. They were going to sell. Okay, WWE before this all started, and Vince McMahon had a football league that looked like it might take off. Now the football league's owned by The Rock, and nobody's buying them. So I'm sorry, this is great. But that aside, they have a brand that's worth multiple billions of dollars, and they want to protect it. So I get it from the corporate perspective. From the wrestler perspective, which is what you're going to see on Twitter, they're like, well, hey, these guys need to make money. So why not work with them and, censor the content, so to speak. So it's like, hey, you can say this, and you can do this, and you can do this, and then you can have your channel, because we realize that you're not getting your, live event money, and you need to make a good living, and, our revenue's down too, so we can't afford to just pay you for the sake of paying you, right? And protect the brand. And that's probably the right way to go about doing it, because the brand does need to be protected. But the wrestlers also deserve the right to, make their money. And I know people are going to be like, well, look, AEW, dude, they make a good bit of money being out there, especially the main roster. And my response to you is, yeah. And they're on the main roster for a couple of years on average before they're booted off. And, their ability to make money is a short window of time when they're in their prime. So we can't really take that away from them, because that's the money they're going to have to live off of for the rest of their lives. So, you see it from both sides.
Goldberg.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a great point. And it makes me think that I wish, as bad as it sounds, I wish Vince McMahon would have done this a long time ago. Because maybe it would have even 5% saved kayfabe a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself now, if these guys didn't have social media and they just stuck to their characters and we didn't see their real lives, I guess you could say, maybe I would believe it or like it a little more. I don't know. But I think you bring up a good point. And yeah, it stinks from their personal perspective, but I think from a corporate standpoint, it should have been done a long time ago. I really do. And I don't know. I'm a firm believer in wrestling is so much better when there's kayfabe and we got something to believe in. And I don't believe in any of the companies right now. And you know what? It makes me think I wish they would have done this a long time ago. And maybe that's what he's going for. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a business reason behind it financially, but I don't know if is that a part of it? Because you bring up a good point there. Is that do either one of you think that could be some kind of reasoning behind it?
I mean, there's definitely a side of it of they own certain intellectual property, and if they don't protect it all the time, they won't be able to protect it. Like, you can't say, Goldberg, your name is worth more than Hurls' name. So I'm gonna hold you to the contract, but not hold Hurls. There's the whole precedent thing in law.
Sure.
So there's definitely that. But a lot of it's just protecting their own brand too, and there's no reason why they can't work with them, to allow them to have that extra revenue off those Twitch channels. It feels like there's a way around this without breaking it. You know what I'm saying? Due to COVID, we're going to allow this under these circumstances until live events restart. No judge is going to look at that and go, oh, nope, doesn't count anymore. I mean, like, come on, man.
But do either one of you think...
Nope.
Here's one thing. Here's one thing that bothers me, and I know it's stupid and maybe it sounds childish, but here's one thing that bothers me is when somebody wins a title, I guess, for example, Kofi Kingston, and you have the entire roster, heel or face, on Twitter congratulating this guy and how hard he's been, and all the work he's put in. If they've never had that from the beginning, and Vince McMahon put a stop from this and told, if you want to have a social media, you stick to character, would you think your interest would be a little different? Either one of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Could you imagine Six-Pac congratulating Lex Luger after he won the title?
It's a joke. It's such a joke. And they all do it. Heel or face. They all congratulate each other in every company. Not just a single at WWE. They all do it. I mean, Rohit got 1 million congratulations. I mean, Sami Callihan congratulated him. He's supposed to be the meanest guy on the planet.
Well, but think of it this way too. Then you get your Jordan Graces of the world that go out and just rant politics nonstop.
Sure. Yeah.
You literally are turning off half of your people. And if I'm the business owner, I'm like, I want everybody because your money's green. Let's just get this real. Money's green. I need the many viewers. Only somebody.
Said, Republicans buy shoes too.
Exactly. And only somebody who is as entitled as Tony Khan would make a statement so asinine as, if you don't believe in what I believe in, I don't want you as a fan. Because most businesses are like, look, I just want to serve you. I just want to put out a product. And you need everybody. Like, you Democrats buy shoes too. I mean, and if you're selling shoes, you shouldn't care if you're selling to a Democrat or Republican. It should be like, what size do you need? Because I need to move some shoes today. Like,
that's what they always ask Michael Jordan. Why does he never get involved in these political talks? And that was his exact answer. Both sides buy shoes.
Yep,
brilliant answer.
Sold a lot of shoes that way too. God damn.
Sure. But these people are so arrogant and so cocky that they don't, like Tony Khan, he doesn't give a shit if he turns off half his base. He's so rich and so cocky, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care.
Yeah, that Twitter back in late April, early May was just, oh, God. That you want to know why I was struggling to watch wrestling for a while. That was it. That was exactly it.
And look at the ratings. AEW's ratings are climbing to new highs. Tony Khan hasn't run his mouth since then. His ratings tanked and he shut the fuck up, and now people are starting to come back. But it's true. It's real. I mean, like, his ratings are up and his mouth is down.
Yeah.
Because people are like, all right, fine, I'll give it another shot now. But it takes a while, and you lose advertisers and you lose money. He's starting to figure it out. He'll say something stupid again. Don't get me wrong. Probably right now, as I'm saying this, he's writing something stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't we talk about that? AEW, they eclipsed 1 million viewers.
That's awesome.
You
I mean,
know,
I don't. I'm not going to hate on that.
Rating.
Anybody not named WWE that is breaking ratings records is good for the whole rest of the industry.
Yeah, I agree, because that means there's actually competition. You know, there was, how many years did we hear, people say, "Oh, WWE can never be topped." WWE will always be king.
Still, I mean, they're really. I don't. If they went head to head, I don't know that they even. I don't think they'd have any remote chance. But they're going head to head with WWE's third show.
Yeah, well, true.
Great numbers. I'm not going to hate on the numbers. It's tremendous because I don't know how they're getting 1 million viewers for the show that they're putting on, but I guess I'll save that.
Well, also though, I just want to point out Raw's ratings right now are about a 1.7 million viewers, so that it's not too far off.
You're right. It's not too far off. So it's embarrassingly bad for WWE. That is really, really bad.
Right, and I've been saying this for a number of years, Hurls, and you can vouch for this, that the time to challenge WWE is coming, and it may actually be here now, and it's because of the digital age, right? So WWE has always been on broadcast TV, then cable TV, and they've always kind of led the way because they went where the people were, right? So first, broadcast TV owned the people, so Vince got syndicated. Then cable owned it, so Vince got on a good cable channel. But now with the additional channels, platforms like Pluto and Twitch, everybody and their mother want to have their own, app and call it a network, right? The ability to content is now being distributed in a million ways. So the pie is shifting, right? And so you have to kind of gather pieces up. And somebody with a good, strong digital platform, it can come in and undercut a company like WWE, which can't move as quick because they are tied to television contracts. They are tied to certain things. Impact is the one that is, if they could figure it out, is the best position because they have enough money behind them, and they also have enough digital expertise behind them to kind of go for a challenge. AEW obviously has the most money, but AEW is now also tied up with television. So I think the time to challenge them, Goldberg, to answer what you were saying, is coming. It could be here, but we could also still be another year or two away. And it's because you're seeing the steady ratings decline from WWE. Part is they're not putting a product on that people want to watch, but part of it also is I got 1 million and one different shows that I can watch now, and I can DVR and watch whatever I want whenever I want it. What's my incentive to watch a wrestling show that isn't top quality? It's not there.
Yeah, and WWE took a precedence over quantity over quality a long time ago, and it's finally starting to catch up to them because I think so many years people were just watching WWE out of habit. It was literally the only, once WCW went out, sure you had your TNAs, but that was a very niche thing, whereas WWE, it was like, okay, this is the big ticket, this is the only game in town. It just had so many viewers that were just so, watching that religiously. I think people finally started, waking up to their BS, the crap product they were putting on, that now you have another challenger, and it's just like people are saying, oh, I'm not gonna take this anymore, and 15 years too late, but hey, you know what, it's coming, so and I think if you look at all the main three companies that we review on the show, not really WWE, but if you look at like who's doing great business right now and who's still doing great business, but they're definitely taking some losses, I would say WWE has taken the most loss compared to AEW and Impact, because Impact had its highest selling pay-per-view in years with Slammiversary. So I think Impact's they're doing good. I don't think that if the COVID keeps going, I don't think that'll be great, but at the same time, it just looks like the wrestling landscape is starting to get a little more even than it was, say, a year ago.
Yeah, Impact. I mean, they definitely haven't lost as much, but they did. They had already lost it, right? With the changes in networks over the years. It's just one network.
They need to get back on prominent. They definitely need to get back on a prominent network.
They need to do some serious growing before we can worry about their losses. I mean, they're steady, which I think is great. My issue with Impact right now, we're talking about this pre-show, is just that I find the show terribly hard to watch, and it's because of two things. Because of the way the arena looks and doesn't sound, Okay, I can hear everything that's going on in the ring, and I don't like that. I like crowd noise, so just pump some in, put some people in the crowd like AEW is, pump some noise in, call it a day. And then as you guys so eloquently said, Josh and Madison, they sound kind of like an old married couple, and nobody wants to listen to that shit.
That's being generous.
I mean, I was trying to be kind.
I guess I was just trying to say, like, not necessarily like in their entire history. I was just more saying, like, I want to say the past year or two. Basically, I think they've done a good job at least developing a business strategy and sticking to it. And, not only that, it's just capitalizing on, WWE's losses, which has really helped some of the names they've been able to bring in the last, since Slammiversary. So that was kind of more of where I was coming from. But you're exactly right with, my hope is that their number one goal would be to grow Access TV and get that into more homes, because I think that should be priority number one right now for them.
Oh, absolutely. They're a part of a bigger entity, which is part of the reason why their business is more solid and has a better foundation. I kind of look at it and I look at the way they're producing their show, and I'm like, pump a little energy into your show, like AEW's been doing, and it'll sound a lot better. I mean, I was telling you guys I was watching Eddie Edwards and Trey, and I love watching Eddie Edwards, and all the Rascals are fun to watch. I had to fast forward through it. It was killing me. It was such a terrible match, and I'm not even sure it was a bad match. It just came across terrible because of the way that it was produced and the way that it was, voiced over and called was just hideous. But they're in a good position. I like what they're doing, but they need to tweak a few. They all need to tweak a few things, But to your point, Hurls, if they lost 20,000 fans, nobody would know it. But their 20,000 fans, it'd be pretty similar to Raw losing 200,000. So it mightn't sound like a lot when you put it, but when you put it in perspective, percentage wise, they're still taking their bites.
Why you got to wonder why is Impact not surrounding the ring with wrestlers and letting them, like AEW did, cheer them on, or the heels root for the heels, the faces root for the faces? Why aren't they doing something? And I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that they're voicing over the commentary. I don't know if that would have something to do with it, but there's absolutely no reason why they can't have a few wrestlers around the ring. It just makes no sense. Or pipe in some crowd noise. Do something. Because hearing Josh Matthews' voice alone, I kid you not, I watch this thing on mute or I fast forward it, because he's awful. And he's the bottom of the barrel when it comes to wrestling announcers right now. And that's including all the companies. I mean, his reactions are so bad that they just, like Hurls said, they're not wavering from importance. They're just the same. He's got the same reaction regardless of moment in the show. And I don't know if he hears. He's got to be hearing some backlash. He's got to check his social media, and I would think the same with Madison, because her character makes absolutely zero sense. And I don't want to take up too much time on this, but we haven't gotten your thoughts on this AEW dude. Is her role, and I don't even know if you know, is the heel announcer. Are you even aware of that?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, Hurls, wouldn't you say she plays the heel announcer?
Yeah, well, yeah, inconsistently.
Exactly, and that's my point, is she's rooting for the heels throughout the show, throughout each match. She's cheering the heels on, and then all of a sudden, the main event comes along. Eric Young cheats to win, and she's yelling, no, don't do it, Eric, no. You're supposed to be rooting for the heels. You should be saying, good job, Eric. That's a brilliant move. Good move by a guy who's thinking outside the box. Something stupid like that.
Goldberg, let me ask you a question. Do you think if Madison Rayne didn't wake up next to Josh Matthews, do you think if Madison Rayne didn't have Josh Matthews' cock stuck in her, do you think that she would be in that position?
No.
No, of course not. It's because they live together. It makes it convenient.
But you know what? I'll tell you, even Johnny Swinger on commentary would be better. Anyone. I think anyone would be better than the two that they're trotting out. And there's gotta be someone that works for them that's better than either Madison or Josh or both. And there's gotta be somebody, because this is just a COVID thing, but Josh has been their go-to guy for a while. So I know for him it's not a COVID thing. Madison, it probably is, but These two, they just don't work well together. They're both phony as can be. I don't buy anything either one of them says. Their surprise reactions when somebody comes in the ring is so embarrassingly bad that I'm embarrassed for them. Like I have to mute it out of like embarrassment for them. It's just it's so bad. It's so EC3 comes in the ring and oh my God, who's that? That's EC3. What's he doing here? You advertise this man the whole fucking month. We know he's going to be on the show. We're not surprised that it's him. We don't always have to be surprised. And it's just their shock Hurls. I know we've touched on this before. Their shock is just it's so phony and it's just so bad. I'll let one of you guys go ahead.
I said last week we were going to have our own segment. Goldberg reviews Josh and Madison, and you got your segment in already. But
I wasn't done. But
no, I'm sure you got more. No, it's you answered it though. It's definitely a COVID thing because these two can literally just they can do commentary in their house.
I mean, I'm sure they are.
That's the most convenient thing they can do.
They're standing down a wall and doing it.
They don't have to. They don't have to bring them in. They don't. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just it's a convenience that they have. Madison did commentary, I think, in her last Impact run a little bit. So they probably figured, oh, hey, let's just put Madison and Josh. We don't have to bring in Don Callis, and we don't have to, mess with that. So that's exactly why they're doing it.
So how about
Scott
this?
D'Amore would be better.
Oh, now you're stealing my thunder. I waited so patiently. You're stealing my thunder. You are. That's good though. Great minds think alike, Goldberg. So do ours. I'm gonna say, how about Scott D'Amore was gonna be my second one that I was gonna make because I was gonna pop you with Scott D'Amore, but instead, how about if I pop you with somebody else that apparently is doing work with Impact right now, guy by the name of Matt Stryker, and put him with Scott D'Amore.
That would be great. Would be great. Yeah. Scott's very good. He's done Twitch shows, in the last year when they were still doing them. And he was great. He knows the business. So he's not going to root if he's doing the heel commentating, he's not going to root for the face. I think that would be a wise move. And not only that, they got D'Lo Brown. He's done commentary too. And he's pretty good. So they have options. They're just not using them for some reason.
It's ease. They can just send an audio over and they're done. Produced in the house, done.
There it is.
They stand against the wall in their house and they wear suits. For all we know, Josh is not even wearing pants in half of these segments.
Honestly, they may have had sex while they're doing commentary. We wouldn't have known. Who knows?
Hey, maybe that's what happens. Maybe Madison needs to give him a blowjob to get him excited at the end of the match. I mean, it would work for me.
Well,
that's why Josh is when EC3 came in, he's like, it's EC3, and then she must have started. He's like, oh, it's EC3. I don't believe it.
Man, I hope Ross Foreman's listening to this episode at least. Forget the Rohit Raju interview.
Yeah. I think that was out the window anyway.
Probably. Yeah, probably. We'll just have the former stars come on anyway.
Oops. Did I do that? Oh, Ross, we love you, buddy. We love you.
We do. We got nothing but love. Just having a little fun.
No, but seriously, replace those two, Ross, and do it.
Guys, the truth is that Josh Matthews is listening to me right now, and he's taking notes. He's like, damn, that's how we're going to do it. If he's smart, he is anyway. If he's smart, he's got Madison. He's like, I'm going to rewind. Let's listen to this idiot talk somewhere. He's got one great idea. All the shows that I've listened to, this guy finally has a great idea on.
I respect Josh for what he does for the company. He does do a lot with other things, with promotion. He goes to all the Twitch shows. He does a lot, but he's just that monotone WWE announcer voice.
He's Michael Cole.
It's just exactly.
I saw Madison live in Maryland once. She was at a show that Rosemary was on, and I got the picture and everything with Rosemary. That's the one where she gave me the big hug and left makeup all over me. It was very interesting. I had literally had makeup on my wife's steering wheel out of it.
Yeah.
But Madison had the table next to her. She didn't have a line though. I probably should have walked over and introduced myself and said hi. But Madison put on a good show that night. She really did.
You should have told her, if in the future you ever think of announcing, just don't do it.
Just stop right there. That's right. Josh,
I like her in the ring, though. I like Madison. I was a fan of her, but she's ruined that for me.
Well, she was my favorite of the beautiful people, but then consider the the other options. Actually, Lacey. Lacey was great.
Yeah, no, Lacey was great. Lacey was great.
Short-lived, but great. All right, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Going back to WWE, we got a little news there. Forgot to mention this last week. Authors of Pain were released. They were a tag team, came in, managed by Paul Ellering. I believe they might have been twins. Pretty, 6'6", decent size to these guys. I watched a couple of their matches. They seemed all right, but I just don't think they have much in the charisma department. But, I kind of like the pairing with Paul Ellering, considering his track record. Authors of Pain, for any of these companies, Impact, AEW, do you guys want these guys to come in?
I have no idea who the hell they are. Go for it, Goldberg.
Yeah.
Who? What? I'm with AEW, dude. I had to just look them up just to see what the hell they look like, because, now that I looked them up, I know who they are now, but you hit the nail on the head, Hurls. They just have no charisma. And maybe it's because there's just the situation they were in, I guess, but I don't know. If they appeared somewhere else, I'd give them a shot, but, I couldn't care less either way.
And you already spoke your piece, AEW, dude. So, I don't know. It's just kind of it's similar to, oh gosh, who was that? That tag team from NXT and WWE. They kind of mock the Road Warriors. Ascension. It's similar to the Ascension. It's like, unless you're really gonna get Paul Ellering to come back and revive them, I just don't see their worth. And if you do that, you can't even use their name. So it's just, I don't know. I just don't see the value in those two guys. I don't know what they bring to the table. AEW's tag team division is stacked. I don't think they need to bring these guys in. Impact has enough tag teams as well. I would say like a company like NWA or, Ring of Honor should probably take a look at them, but
maybe
I don't see too much. Yeah, MLW. And speaking of MLW, they were in the news this week. They're moving their show to Wednesday night. Supposedly, they're going to be a lead-in to AEW and NXT. Good move, bad move, AEW dude.
So here's the thing. They're going to have a show at 7 and a show at 10, right? And AEW runs from 8 to 10. NXT runs from 8 to 10. So they're going to get people that are coming on a little early but interested in wrestling because that's what they want to watch that night. And then, God, I just had such a good time watching wrestling. I think I need to watch a third hour. Said no one ever, but it happens, right? And so they're going to try to catch those guys too, right? So from that perspective, this is a good move. It's a solid move. The problem is, Hurls, what network are they on?
Fubu?
Yeah, where do you find that again? Remind me. That's on Comcast, right? That's a channel that comes with basic cable.
Fubu, isn't that like a brand of clothing?
It is. It's owned by the dude from Shark Tank.
Damon John.
I like him, by the way. I like him. He's fun. But anyway, here's the deal, right? Nobody knows where to find a damn thing because it's on fucking Pluto TV. Okay? So, I don't care what they say about we've got reach into 70 million homes because people have installed the Pluto app, but nobody fucking watches it. It just doesn't happen.
It's on Pluto?
It's on Pluto.
Oh shit! I have Pluto.
Of course you have Pluto. The whole friggin' world has Pluto, but you can't DVR from Pluto. So make sure you tune in at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I mean at least it's free. But...
Right, but so I mean like they it's a good idea, but it's like, oh my god, it's like there's I applaud this effort, but really you're gonna gain 5 viewers.
Yeah.
But now if Impact did this, okay, with an actual network, it'd be cool as shit. I mean, for real.
Agreed.
And I was actually thinking about it. Why don't they put a 1-hour show out there in that time slot? Why not?
They have This Is Impact, which is like a past event show for TNA. Why not? They were talking about possibly doing a knockout show or even a TNA show. Why not? Why not do it then? I think that would be a good idea.
I mean, why the hell not?
Goldberg, any thoughts
on MLW?
Yeah, I mean, do you think this is a good move? Do you think it's a bad move? Yeah,
I mean, yeah, sure, it's a good. I mean, give them a little exposure, even if it is to 5 people. AEW dude says. I mean, but at least it's 5 more people than they had before. I actually went to an MLW show last year in Miami because I'm in South Florida, and I actually went to a show, and you know what? They put on a decent show. And the guy who stole the show is no longer with the company, and I think he might be behind bars soon. Teddy Hart. So
he literally stole the show.
He stole
sodomized it.
Everybody. This guy was coming through the crowd.
Killed it and buried it.
He was taking pictures with everybody. He was grabbing girls' asses. I mean, he was all over the place. And but overall, they actually put on a decent show, and they had. I want to say, was it Tony Schiavone was calling the matches on that show?
Yes, he was doing MLW stuff before AEW.
Yeah, he was calling the matches, and you know what? They had Madman Fulton, who that was the first time I ever saw Madman Fulton wrestle, and I said, "Who the fuck is this monster?" And that was the first time I ever saw him, and they put on a decent show. They had a what do you call it? The cage. A Survivor cage match. What do you call it? That WCW used to have.
Oh yeah. War Games.
War Games. Yeah, they had War Games. That was their main event.
But it was MLW War Games, so it was different.
Yeah, MLW War Games, and it was a good match, and it was a good show. It was a good card. Gangrel made an appearance. Oh, Cowboy James Storm came out of nowhere, and they put on a good show. So you know what? If it's on Pluto TV, I may tune in. So they may have 6 viewers.
Well, you're one of the 5. I was counting you, Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing. I like what they're doing, but I think that Dynamite should end with an explosion.
And then never have another show again?
No! I mean, Impact should put Explosion on in the 10 o'clock time slot right after Dynamite. Come on, guys. My jokes are bad, but they actually are that bad. Yeah, it's true. My jokes suck.
That one went over my head.
Same.
I mean, I kind of figured it would, but seriously, why not put a 1-hour Impact show on at the end? Explosion's already there, so why not just use Explosion or just anything to kind of like, hey, well, we're gonna watch it, I mean, I would not put Impact on from 10 to 12 and expect people to be like, all right, I got 2 more hours in. But just make it count. Make Explosion count for a change.
You're bringing nightmares. You're giving me nightmares from the time Destination America put Ring of Honor after TNA Impact. What a slap in the face that was.
And before.
Yes, and before. Oh, God.
Not that I'm counting. Sadly now, Impact and Ring of Honor are like, they look like the same show.
Yeah.
The in-ring part, Impact does more stuff, but they can and they have to because they got 2 hours, and Ring of Honor has 1.
Still has 1.
So let's talk news, because I've been dying to talk this one, Hurls, and I'm gonna let you guys kick it first around. Did we have a debut on Dynamite this week?
Yes, we did.
Some dude from Bulgaria, maybe.
Yep.
I understand that he debuted. His wife is still over in WWE, probably banging Lashley. But we had Miro debut. I wanted to know, is Lana coming with him, or does she stay with Lashley?
Once you go black, you never go back.
Right?
There you go.
Work for my
Who
wife.
wants to hit on this first? Who wants to hit on this debut? Who wants to hit on, not on Lana, on the debut? Who wants to hit it first? All right, I guess I'll do it. All right. To me, okay, Miro appearing, I mean, I'm glad he's back because I like his character. But this was the most underwhelming debut that they could have possibly come up with for this guy. Unless they're making him a mid-carder, unless he's going to be another average Joe in the company. But I thought he'd come in and be at least in a serious position, in a main event position right away, considering WWE made a joke out of this guy for years. And he comes in and he's the best man for Kip Sabian. Isn't that a little underwhelming for a debut that he's the best man of a guy who's not even really important on the show? I don't know if that was just a way to introduce him, but to me, he should be in a serious angle right off the bat. And let's make it. Let's show the fans who know him as a joke that he's not a joke and he's going to come in and whoop some ass. And maybe, hear me out. Maybe his debut would have been better off as Matt Seidel's debut, not including falling off the top rope, of course. But maybe he should have appeared in that battle royal, and Matt Seidel should have been Kip Sabian, because who gives a shit who his best man is? Should have been his best man. And
you're speechless, Goldberg. What happened? Lost your voice. I got your tongue.
Stop.
No, today, Junior. Yeah, that's my. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I don't, and nothing AEW does right now to me is just done correctly or properly, and I think this debut is another one that was not done like it could have been.
I'm surprised by it. I would have had him come in and either be a monster or just I don't know, almost like Samoa Joe-esque. That's how I would have debuted him. To come in as Kip Sabian's, I don't want to say he's his lackey, but they're really starting him kind of below on the card, which was very surprising for me. I realize they have a lot of talent, but in what you just said, Goldberg, is they're not utilizing guys correctly. I agree 100% on that. I just think they have a lot of players, but they just don't have that general direction where to put them, and it's just it's not a move I would have made. I would have had him higher up, but I'll kick it over to AEW dude on this.
All right, so a couple of things here, because I do not want to forget to talk about how wonderful it was with all those Twitch shots they took at WWE, right? That was fun shit. But I thoroughly expect in a world where every idea is fresh and new, I totally expect that this is going to be an angle where he is the best man at the wedding, but I think he's taking Penelope Ford from Kip Sabian. That's how this ends. No doubt. They wind up feuding. Penelope Ford goes, think about it. He has no wife. We know this. Bobby Lashley's banging her. He needs a chick. Hot blonde. Right? 2 and 2 together. He's the best man at a wedding. That maybe doesn't happen, because everybody knows wrestling weddings always something crazy happens at wrestling weddings. And that this is where this heads, because the creative genius known as Tony Khan, right, has the most amazing plan on the planet, and he would never possibly put him in this angle. That would make it worth it for me. because it would just prove exactly how stupid WWE, AEW, and everybody involved is. Like, I'm sorry, it would be a career killer for everybody and probably a ratings killer at the same time, but the appropriateness of that angle coming to fruition would actually make it worth it for me. Now, as far as the guy's career is concerned, I mean, who worse to put him with? Are they going to make him Marco Stunt's best man? Like, was it Shawn Spears looking for a tag team partner? I was like, wait a minute, maybe he could be Shawn Spears' tag team partner. What the hell? This was stupid. They're obviously paying this guy well to come over, and this is what they do with him. It's like, oh my God, Daddy has too much money. I can't possibly spend it all. It's what this reeks of. It's asinine. But what they did do right was make fun of WWE. Kip Sabian comes out and he literally had a dude come out who was watching his Twitch channel because he's promoting the fact that he can have a Twitch channel, which the WWE folks can't. So already there's hints that this is the guy, you know, somebody from WWE is coming, right? And then they go and you know, of course, Miro now, he takes shots at WWE, you know, 10 years glass ceiling, screw you type of a thing. So that part was kind of cool. I liked the promo. But it could have come out, it could have destroyed somebody, and Kip Sabian would have been a great person to destroy because, you know, him and Joey Nutella and Sonny Kiss and some of these other idiots, Shawn Spears is another one, or just make for great jobbers for a big guy like Rusev that just, you know, run through and then cut a passion promo about how screw you WWE, screw you Vince McMahon. But this was asinine, guys. This is ridiculous.
You know, I gotta give Rusev a lot of credit though for, you know, basically just swerving everybody, saying he's retired from pro wrestling. He even mentioned that the only pay-per-view he watched was Slammiversary. He thought it was good. I got to give him a lot of credit because, yeah, you thought AEW was going to make a push to get this guy to come in, but the way Rusev handled it, I thought was done perfectly. Just swerving everybody and making them think that, oh, he's not coming in, and you know, that got to give him kudos there.
And he was rewarded for it handsomely now, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, he was.
All I remember from him is him getting speared and jackhammered by Goldberg.
Bray Wyatt got speared and jackhammered.
Was it just a
as
spear
heavyweight champion? Yeah.
That's another thing WWE did shitty. Goldberg's run.
Don't get me started on that. Yeah, that was just some awful WWE booking there of Bray Wyatt.
But you're just asking for the fans to hate Goldberg by doing that. You're just asking for it.
Guys, we could do a podcast on bad booking and like literally never come off the air and just keep talking forever and ever and ever. We'd basically turn into Chef in the process, who's like literally seemingly on air constantly, or Larkin, but we could do this.
Man, oh yeah, that would take forever.
Could you imagine?
You could talk about.
We could put Raven effect on him. We could all go to sleep for the night and wake up, and he'd still be going.
We literally would be here forever. We would be here by the time RVE's business burns down. Actually burns down.
Why don't you just move it to Kenosha, and then it'll burn down?
Yeah. Don't even get me started on Kenosha. AEW dudes already heard my rant on Kenosha, so.
Yes.
If we had a Patreon, I'd release that episode on Patreon, but we don't. But no, I mean that's a really good signing. Like if you know, I definitely wanted him to come to Impact. You know, that was. I don't get me wrong. I liked who Impact was able to get from all those releases, and you know, there's definitely some surprise like EC3, but I really wanted Rusev, and I think that's a solid pickup for AEW. I just hope that they're going to use him. You know, I hope he gets to the main event scene at some point. I know Jim Ross was really, really high on him, so you know, maybe that's what got the thing going in motion. So, all right. Speaking of the you know, the WWE releases, and we did a show on where we thought, you know, everybody was going to land. What were some of the ones that you guys totally didn't see happening, and what were some of the ones that you nailed it right away?
I feel like everything kind of landed where we thought they were going to land. I'm trying to think of like who went someplace and it was like great. You know, I mean, like the ones that have been signing recently and starting, they don't really, like, I don't really care about Heath. It's just like I don't, and I don't really care about Laurel Van Ness's, hubby too, Zack Ryder, whatever the hell he's going by now. Those guys are meaningless to me. They're kind of being booked fairly meaningless too. I guess Heath's getting a little bit better push, but those guys could have gone anywhere, and I'd be like, whatever. I don't know. I don't think I was really shocked or overwhelmed in any way, shape, or form. I expected EC3 to go where he went because I don't think that he fits in AEW. They just don't. I don't think he fits in Japan either. You know what I mean? So I feel like he went where he belonged. I think they're idiots for bringing him back, but luckily they didn't bring him back on full time. They're sharing him because of how he acted, but it doesn't surprise me.
Goldberg.
Yeah, I'm kind of with AEW, dude, on this one. The only one I would say would be Rusev, because I actually did predict that he would be the fourth man in that match at Slammiversary. I don't know if you remember that. I was wrong, apparently, obviously. But, I thought he, for some reason, the way he was touting Slammiversary, that he'd be watching, I thought he'd go there. But, yeah, other than that, I mean, everybody else could just... You're right. They're so interchangeable. Anyone could have really gone anywhere other than, I guess, the Good Brothers, who, like, maybe are the biggest names other than EC3 out of that group. And I think Impact landing them was pretty important, even though they're just going to do the same tag team. And I mean, I would give them each singles runs, but hey, we're not talking about booking again. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty interchangeable to me. I don't think anybody could have gone anywhere. Really wouldn't have made a difference except for a couple guys.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by the Good Brothers, but I guess once you hear kind of like what happened with AEW and how they kind of used them for leverage, yeah, I guess there's a little sour taste there. And the fact that they still get to work New Japan, I mean, it kind of makes sense for them to come into Impact. EC3 kind of surprised me. I really thought he would have went to NWA or AEW, especially with NWA with Billy Corgan. I mean, he was the one that was, there for EC3's big runs in Impact. So I was a little shocked that he didn't show up there. Rusev going to AEW. I said it could have been an Impact sleeper, but I also said that AEW, I definitely knew they would try to get him. So doesn't really surprise me. Heath and Brian Myers don't really surprise me too much. They were just kind of, wherever. And Eric Young was a layup for Impacts. Same with
Totally.
Zack Ryder. That was a layup for AEW with Cody Rhodes being there. So yeah, nothing too shocking. Yeah, is what it is. So I guess for our main segment, I just kind of wanted to get a current state of wrestling. I mean, we've mentioned some of the stuff already, but Goldberg, why don't you give me your thoughts on the current state of wrestling right now? You can do storylines, you can do whatever you want.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I differentiate with the AEW dude on this one, considering AEW is in your name. But
I mean, I'm kind of former AEW dude, sort of.
So
and Impact was in my name.
What? Go ahead.
No, it used to be in my name. I used to be TNA dude. Then I was Impact dude. Then I was AEW dude. Somewhere along the line, I was underscore brother underscore. And now yes. I'm former AEW dude, so trust me, dude, go for it.
Okay, all right. So here's my problem right now with the current state of wrestling overall. And I'm gonna not really touch on WWE because I think they've stunk for years, and I think they've done one thing well recently, which is turn Roman Reigns heel. But I think it's too little, too late. So I just have no interest in WWE, and I don't think I ever will again. So I'm going to touch on the other two companies, and here's my main problem with the current state of AEW. And I think, and I've said this before, to me, the definition of AEW is they're a parody of wrestling. They're a joke. They have the talent. They don't have the storylines. Their booking stinks. And to me, it's every wrestler, let's see who can be the funniest. Who's going to one-up the next guy and be funnier than the last guy who was on the show? It's like a stand-up comedy act where it's almost like, I don't know if anybody watches Seinfeld, but it's like Kenny Bania was performing, and then Jerry Seinfeld's got to go after him, and Bania stole his jokes. And it's just like, it's such a joke that you can't have a whole entire show. And this is what it is. It's not outright comedy, but it's like a parody of wrestling. It's everybody trying to be funny. You got Chris Jericho, who's turned into the Jobber. He's now Chris the Jobber Jericho. He's fighting guys who are completely irrelevant. You have a feud with Orange Cassidy, and they have these 3 matches, and Jericho winds up losing the feud. You can't just throw a guy in a feud with Chris Jericho and now think, okay, now this guy's over because he feuded with Chris Jericho. So now he's got a great future. Now we can put him up against anybody. That's just not how it works. You can't just put these jerk losers up against Chris Jericho and think that they're now over in wrestling. It just doesn't work like that. And I don't buy it. Actually worked in reverse. And I now think Chris Jericho's a jerky loser. He's losing all notoriety to me. I mean, this guy is such a historic past in wrestling, and he's become a comedy act. He's like Orange Cassidy. He fits right in with feuding with Sonny Kiss now and Joey Janela. It's a joke. And what they've done, they're booking, I don't want to go on too long, but they're booking with Lance Archer, or not Lance Hoyt anymore, Lance Archer, has just been horrific. You put this guy, if he's not fighting dope losers, then he's fighting Cody Rhodes and he's losing the match. You build up Brian Cage, but then he loses in the big match, and now he's back to just mopping people. Like, their basic booking, they're just basic storyline writing stinks. It's horrible, and it's made AEW unwatchable for me. And I'm a guy who, when they debuted, I bought the pay-per-view. I watched every week after that, and they lost me just by being a joke and just by trying to be funny. And if you're not in on the joke, you don't like AEW, and they don't care if you like it. You have to be in on the joke, otherwise you're just not going to like it. So before I touch on Impact, I kind of wanted to get you both your thoughts on what I just said.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're a fan of the show, you're kind of in on the joke. If you're not a fan of the show, you're kind of not in on the joke. Like, I mean, like the whole 24/7 thing, with WWE. I don't get a lot of Impact right now because I don't watch it. So I feel like it's a two-way street. You know what I mean? I don't know that AEW is doing a great job of booking. I think we could go on for days about how bad the booking is just in general. I feel like they have too much talent, and I've seen some other people say that recently too, to the point of where it's just hard to book everybody properly. Somebody was talking about how they got Miro, he need book him as a monster. I was like, okay, along with Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Wardlow, Jake Hager. And I listed like Luchasaurus. I listed like 6 or 7 dudes that are just as bigger than he is, and none of them are being booked right. So, I agree with you on the booking. I feel like the inside jokes on things is probably, if you watch the show religiously, you'd probably get the inside joke. But you could probably say that about any product too, and not just AEW.
Yeah, but even so, their storylines are not only is the comedy thing bother me. Because they made their biggest heel group, which is the Inner Circle, into a joke right away when they had them doing the Brady Bunch routine and all that crap. Like, you immediately, like, the NWO would never be caught dead doing that stuff. They were just beating the shit out of people. And to turn them into a comedy act right away just ruined it for me. And then even stuff like, it's just the predictable things. Like you got MJF and Wardlow. We know that right now Wardlow is going to turn on him. It's too predictable. And we knew that the tag champ, Kenny Olivier and the other one, Hangman Page. We knew they would turn on each other. We knew that was going to happen. Like, it's just so obvious. Like, swerve me, do something crazy. It's obvious. It's comedy. It's just they've completely turned me off as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, booking in general is bad. So.
Yeah. I get what they're trying to do, but they seem kind of pulled into 100 different directions, and their talent roster is amazing, minus the women's division, which they kind of seem like they're trying to get better at. But as of right now, I enjoyed when Jericho was champion, but you're right. I think that Santana Ortiz, they lose way too much. The Lucha Brothers have been kind of, they've had some good matches, but they really haven't, been the focal point at all. Brian Cage, same thing with Taz throwing the towel. I think that really hurt his momentum. They're trying to push, MJF. I just don't think he's ready for that. John Moxley, he's been pretty solid, but I don't know. I think they just need an overall direction and to stick with it, because I think they're kind of pulled into many different areas, and they have so many guys. They almost need a WCW Saturday Night type show, and maybe they're going to get it soon. But I mean, they're still very young. A young company, and they're probably trying to iron out the kinks and whatnot. But I agree though. I just they have so much guys, and they're just not utilizing them. And then especially the one problem I really had was the squash matches. Like they do that way too often. Like there's too many of them, and that. That worked in WWF in the late 80s, early 90s, where, WWF superstars, you were really building these guys up. So by the time that they got to the pay-per-view, it was like, oh, gosh, what could happen? But I just don't think with weekly television, especially on prime time, that you can afford to keep having these squash matches. I don't see the value in that. I don't even like it when Impact does it. They don't really do the squash matches that much. They haven't, at least in a while. So I don't know. I just think they need to almost strip down their booking and just simplify it a little bit. That would be my
problem.
issue.
I'd say their problem is they oversimplify their damn booking with the rating systems and stupid shit like that. Honestly, Hurls, I agree with you on jobber matches, but I will say that I don't mind a jobber match every now and again. Kind of sort of grew up with them on Saturday nights. So, the problem is they can't all be jobber matches. And I think COVID forced some of that too. So I will give a little bit of a break when you don't have all of your talent available to you. You kind of do what you have to do. And I saw more jobber matches across the board. That was one thing that impacted a little bit better, because they would go and they would film 5, 6, 7 shows. They just bring everybody in, film their shows, and get the hell out of Dodge. The advantage of not being a live show, right? And again, take every advantage that you have as you can, right? This Impact has been better for a lot of people because they don't know what's going to happen before it happens. Everybody's actually fucking tune in for a change. There's spoilers, right? Again, if you have an advantage, take the advantage and roll with it. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think booking in general kind of sucks, and I'm not giving any of them a pass. Certainly not going to give AEW a pass, but I still try to figure out why the hell Trey was wrestling Eddie Edwards for the world title. So, I mean, I can't explain that booking either. So
we shot on that. We shot on that hardcore.
Yeah, I believe that
storyline.
I totally believe it.
I was going to touch on that next, because I do want to touch on Impact. I know AEW do, or former AEW do. You don't really watch them religiously, but I'm not going to sit here and bash on AEW and let Impact off the hook. But before we move on from AEW, also, like, you have your tag champs now, the Revival, and they're thrown into, to me, it's a comedy act with Jurassic Express. They're getting, well, I don't know, they got something poured on them. I saw it this past week, like, from outside. They're standing outside the ring. What'd they pour on them? I don't know, sugar or some shit. What'd they pour on the Revival? Does anybody see that?
I did not.
Who poured on them?
Jurassic, Marco Stunt, or one of those little guys poured, like, I think sugar. They had like a bag of something and poured it over the ring, and it went all over the Revival.
I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but like the Revival, to me, like, you finally bring in a legitimate tag team. Like, they should just be in a legitimate feud with either oh my god, LAX or Pentagon and Phoenix. You got to put them in a serious feud.
Did you just say they finally brought in a legitimate tag team? I swear those were your words.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, they got nothing but legitimate tag team. Well, okay, I can't say that. They still have best friends who's popular for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, but I mean like a serious... Okay, maybe I shouldn't say legitimate. Serious. Like guys who come in and want to be taken seriously and not be funny. And they came in like a house of bricks, and now they've won the tag titles. They don't need to be in a feud with Jurassic Express, who we know they're not going to lose to. It's just unnecessary. And one more thing I want to add before we move on from them. Do you guys kind of feel like that they just throw these old school managers on some of these guys? Like, I feel like they have too many managers, if that's possible to be a thing. Or now I'm just nitpicking on that.
No, I mean, I see where you're coming from. I find your comment about serious tag teams intriguing, because I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I haven't thought about it that way before. I actually, the more I think about it, the more I tend to be in agreement. But I kind of look at these tag teams as I've known them for so many years that I know them to be serious, but now they're not serious. And I say to myself, and I'm not talking about best friends with Jurassic Express. I'm talking about LAX. Yeah. I'm talking about the Lucha Brothers. I'm talking about the Bucks, right? You know, the three best tag teams in the world.
Here, these were guys that I took seriously coming into AEW when they launched. But now I don't take them seriously anymore. None of them. Not any of the three of them. They buried all three of them to me.
And I mean, honestly, like you guys know my complaints. Hurls, I talk about it all the time. Why the hell aren't they pushing LAX? Why the hell aren't they pushing the Lucha Brothers? What the fuck? The Young Bucks are executives for a reason. They had drawing power. So Goldberg, I mean, like, I haven't thought about it that way, but you're kind of ruining my night because you're right, and sometimes you want people to be right, and this time I don't, right? But no, I mean, I'm kind of stuck on that comment because initially it's like, wait a minute, how can you not take these guys seriously? But then it's like, well, I get it. Like, I unfortunately completely fucking get it. It is ridiculous. I will say though that them having a feud with the somebody they're going to beat, they're trying to establish them as a superstar tag team. That's the way you do it. The problem is that they should have established those other three teams as superstar tag teams and didn't. So it kind of makes it a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to touch on that. I agree with pretty much everything that's been said. I will say I hope that their plans, going forward, or at least to elevate LAX to make them look a little more credible. But I do also realize that they have a lot of tag teams, and they're going to have to find a balance of what works.
When they poured orange juice on LAX in the ring on the inner circle, that ruined it for me. I don't respect them anymore, and I don't care what they do from here on out, unless they give them a serious fucking run for the tag titles. I don't. It's tough to come back from. I don't know the difference between Santana and Ortiz, but one of them slipping around on orange juice was so fucking ridiculous. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, that was Ortiz. Yep.
So
Yeah, I saw
stupid.
that.
Like
He
he
was
couldn't get
overselling
up.
that.
Really, buddy.
Yeah.
He can't even. I'm sure you realize how stupid that was afterward, but. Hurls, do you want to give your thoughts on the current state of Impact, or?
I just wanted to say, how have you liked Matt Hardy's booking so far? AEW dude, do you have any comments on Hardy's booking?
It's like, how did you expect them to be used? Older talent's got to put over younger guys. It's just the way that it works. Matt Hardy was only ever a big player in Impact, and it was in part because they didn't have anybody else, and it was in part because he reinvented himself, and it just fucking worked, right? So I on one hand, it's like I don't know that I have a tremendous issue with the booking of Matt Hardy. On the other hand, I have an issue with pretty much everything that everybody is booking right now, including Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to top what he's done. Like, I mean, he had the version 1 in early 2000 WWE that was really good, and then he did the the broken stuff in Impact, which is, I mean, it's very hard to create like that amount of buzz. And with AEW, he's almost has like a new identity almost, so he has to kind of find like what's going to work for him in AEW. You can't really go back on things that have worked in previous companies. So I just think that he's going to come back eventually after his, recovery, and maybe he'll have a completely new gimmick. So who knows? Going with your question, moving on to Impact. Like I said, I hated the, how they came out of Slammiversary with Eddie Edwards defending the world title every week. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous why they had him in the opening matches for the heavyweight title. I just absolutely could not stand that. I'm a traditionalist just like you two are, and the fact that your heavyweight championship is being defended like a TV title is just absolutely ridiculous. When I was trying to go into Impact's head for why they were booking that, it almost seems like they were trying to overcompensate for the fact that they didn't have a heavyweight champion for 3 months. So it's like, oh, we got to have our heavyweight champion on every week now to make up for the time that Tessa was gone. So that, and I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous in itself, putting the world title on Tessa, even though she had some good matches with Sami Callihan, but just her whole title run was just based on her defending it against Ace Austin and Trey Miguel, and it's just like devalued the heavyweight division so badly. It's like it really set them back when they had guys like Mike Elgin, who was in the running, who should have been the world champion, but that really set them back. They recovered at least a little bit with the Slammiversary hype, and that has helped. But since then, as far as the heavyweight division goes, I didn't like that storyline with Eddie. I thought it was terrible. But thankfully it didn't last long. Eric Young winning the title, but still you have Josh Matthews underselling the fact that Eric Young just won the world freaking title. Like, show some emotion, and that goes back with the commentary issues we've been talking about. The X Division stuff, I don't really have a problem with. I'm a little upset that Willie Mack lost the title. I thought Willie Mack was doing some really good stuff with it. Chris Bay is a phenomenal wrestler, really good. Like, his athleticism might be up there with AJ Styles. He's that smooth in the ring. But I just never got into his character work as a heel. I thought it was just forced. It wasn't really making me dislike the guy. I just think they didn't really know what to do with Chris Bay. He's very talented. I think they can find something for him eventually, but man, I'm really digging what TJP's doing. I'm glad he beat Chris Bay this past week for the #1 contendership. So I'm glad that they're finally doing something with Rohit Raju. I think the guy is underrated. I know Goldberg, you're a big fan of him. He was stuck in the Desi Shit Squad for so long that it really took a toll on his credibility. But the fact that, he was losing all those weeks, but he was complaining, like I knew they had some type of storyline for him. So, I'm glad he finally, for all the stuff he's done the past few years, I'm glad he got rewarded because he is a really good worker in the ring. Before Impact brought the Machine Guns back and the Good Brothers in, I was really hoping TJP and Fallah Bahh were going to get the straps, but I don't know, that might be going away now with TJP kind of doing solo stuff. Knockouts division, I'm a big fan of Deonna Purrazzo, probably because it got the title off of Jordynne Grace. So, I'm liking her work. I don't like, though, when people come in and get title shots right away. That's a big sticking point with me. I think you got to at least go through some of the roster before you get a title shot. She got the title shot and won it right away. But I really do enjoy her work. She's taking pointers from watching Mr. Perfect and Rick Rude matches, so I got to give her props there. Definitely shows that she's kind of using some ring psychology in her matches. Tag team division, the North was just dominating every tag team they had because they didn't really have many credible tag teams that would go after them. And they made some of their tag teams kind of jokes. So it just wasn't really, it was pretty obvious to see why, the North were champions for a year. But, they got the Machine Guns now. You got the Good Brothers. You made Ace Austin and Madman Fulton a tag team. I'm interested to see how their match is going to go at Bound for Glory, whatever match that's going to be. Wrestle House, I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm unlike John. I'm sorry. Dang it, I did it.
That's okay.
We
won't tell him.
I do it once. We won't tell episode him when you're on. AEW,
but the last thing you do is tell everybody by calling it out. Just keep going.
Yes.
Damn it, Raven Effect, you've been out it again.
Yeah. Who? Raven Effect. RVE.
No, I mean the other name you dropped.
I'm not going to repeat it. I slip it once an episode, so.
Josh Matthews is rewinding right now.
Yeah. Crap! I forgot where I was at. Where was I at? Tag team division. Was that where I was? Yeah, whatever. Tag team division. It's definitely by bringing those guys in, it's improved. Heavyweight division. They need a main angle. They don't have a main angle. You're going into Bound for Glory, which hasn't been as impressive as Slammiversaries in like the past 5 years. However, I did enjoy last year's Bound for Glory, but that's none the point. I think Impact, we talked about, they gotta improvise with the empty arena stuff. AEW did it, WWE did it. Impact's got to find a way to do it. I'm sorry, they got to, whatever way they can do to make it a little more exciting as far as the atmosphere goes, because there's no reason we should just, be having an empty arena and that's it. If you got to put fake crowd noise in, fine. I don't really care. Do something with the virtual fans if you have to. Put wrestlers in the crowd. I don't really care. You did it during Wrestle House, so whatever. That's where I was. Wrestle House. I enjoyed that. I'm somewhat glad it's over, but I'm kind of not glad it's over because I think it added a new perspective into Impact, and it wasn't just the same formula that you're getting every week. I actually did enjoy the Triple XL versus the Deaners match. It reminded me of the Three Stooges, but I can totally understand that would definitely not be for everybody, though. If you're a traditionalist, like I usually am, it looked really corny. It looked stupid at parts, but a lot of the inside jokes, and there it is, inside joke, was actually kind of funny about the different wrestling terms. But, Rosemary, Johnny Bravo stuff, my favorite version of Rosemary is when she first came in and she was, sadistic and she played that character just to a T. I want to see her come back to that at some point. Knockouts division, they got a lot of really good wrestlers. I think it's pretty healthy right now. Heavyweight division needs a direction though. Yeah, that's really all I got about Impact. I'm going to kick it to you, Goldberg.
Okay, so I'll make it quick. My thoughts on Impact. I came back in when Slammiversary came around, and it was because of Michael Elgin selling it so hard on social media. So I decided to give it another chance. I loved what they did, bringing in Eric Young, EC3, and the Good Brothers and all those guys. So I was really high on them at the time. But I just don't think they've done as good of a job as they could. And I'm not going to get on booking again because I know we could have a fun with that one. But I want to say that their whole, I just don't know where they're going with some of these things. With Chris Bay winning a title and then losing it right away, and now being a guy who can't win a match. Willie Mack can't win a match. I mean, you have these guys, and Rob Van Dam has I love the old guys, but I know I've said this before. His time it's up to me, and his angle right now is really stupid. And now
but he doesn't even know it, so it's okay.
But you know what? Now they're giving him a talk show. Like they need another talk show, which is stupid. He's getting his own talk show now, like Madison has hers. Like it's just I don't know what Impact is thinking on some of these things, let alone their announcers almost are not even the biggest problem they have. Well, no. Yes, it is. I should say that. Yes, it's the biggest problem they have. But their booking is just as awful as the other two companies. It makes no sense half the time how you put the belt on a guy like Eddie Edwards when Eric Young was in that same match. You had Eric Young lose in that match, take a pin, and then 3 weeks later, now he's the champion. He beat Eddie Edwards. What was the point in Eddie Edwards' horrible reign as world champion? It did nothing but make his character worse, if you want to even say character, because he doesn't have one. It did nothing but bring him down. And I think Wrestle House, I know I bashed on it for weeks on end. I said it was horrible. We don't need more comedy in wrestling. But I will give it credit. One thing it did is it gave all the dopes in that house some kind of potential future. It at least did something for each of their characters, and now we're going to know them in the future. Hey, those were those idiots making all those jokes on Wrestle House, but hey, maybe now we could take them. They'll be in a different angle. So at least it did something for the development of their characters. But yeah, I'm Hurls. I'm with you on most of this stuff. They fucked up. Who would have thought that they put the belt on Tessa? That fucked it up. Now they took the belt off of her, and they've continued to fuck up the heavyweight title. You got to put some meaning back on this thing, and build a proper feud, and put some meaning back on the heavyweight title. Yeah, I'll cede to AEW dude now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you guys covered it pretty well. I mean, everybody's got holes, and Impact's got their own holes, and their heavyweight division's kind of screwed up. I didn't like them putting the belt on EY as soon as they did, to be honest with you. I like crazy EY. I like the EYs from Impact. I'm not sure I really care for this character as much, and I don't think that EY, not that any of them do, but does as well without a crowd either. And so I do think that it diminished what Eddie Edwards accomplished, but Eddie was always a transitional champ, and he was brought in to be the fighting champ, and because Tessa Blanchard clearly was not a fighting champ because she never showed up, so it was a bit of a thumb in her ass. Although I suspect Daga's got one in there too. So I suspect that's what that was all about there.
We're gonna get beat up.
Hey, look. I mean, this is what it is, It's Mexico.
No, I'm only kidding.
They do different things differently.
One thing about Eric Young, though, at least he plays a character.
Yeah.
And I actually don't hate his character, and at least he plays a fucking heel that right now he's like he's a convincingly good heel right now, where he's beating the shit out of people, and he's doing it, and then he's running away, and he's I think he's playing a good.
And if he had a crowd, he'd be massively over.
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
AEW, dude, I just got to stop you. I was just going to say that, you said Daga had a thumb up her ass, but I also want to say that Ricochet had a thumb up her ass as well as his own ass on video.
I'm just
I didn't see.
See, so there you go. There you go. I thought you were going to say he's got a thumb up her ass. That might not be the only thing he's got up there. I mean, we don't really know what they're doing right now, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We know one thing though. Raven Effect has all kind of shit stuck up his ass right now. Okay. But no, I mean that's what that was, and they got their holes. At least they're trying to improve their tag division, which has definitely got a little bit of depth to it now. You know. But yeah, I mean that's wrestling for you.
You know, maybe I'm biased. I know you guys want to wrap this up, but maybe I'm biased. And I grew up watching wrestling with my father. We watched every WCW pay-per-view, and if my father has not watched wrestling in years since early TNA days, if he put on Impact tomorrow and saw Wrestle House, I think he would laugh in my face, say, "What the fuck is this?" and never watch wrestling ever again. I mean, it's not exactly for the old school fan, you know?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I wanted Impact after I thought they were going to get back to being a wrestling company and being taken seriously, because the other two certainly have enough comedy to cover the entire wrestling industry. So I was looking forward to them. That's all I'm saying, is I was looking forward to them being the wrestling company again. And I actually think maybe it'll wind up being NWA who does that. If I'm looking for wrestling, I may have to go there.
Enjoy Trevor Murdoch. That's all I gotta say. You know, I think we all want WCW '97 Starrcade type hype, but man, I don't remember.
Well, kayfabe is dead, so it'll never happen.
Yeah, I just don't think we'll ever get there. But that's all of our takes on the state of wrestling in general, and we hope it all improves for all the companies. I mean, hell, even WWE, because whenever a company gets red hot, it helps the whole business, like you said. So any final comments from anybody?
Well, I'm glad AEW dude is home, so it's nice to have you on the show again.
I'm glad, so happy to be back and talking shit and getting the show in trouble with Ross Foreman and whoever else is listening. I mean, that's kind of my role, and I feel like I played it tonight, so my life is fulfilled.
Maybe Josh will take it as constructive criticism.
Josh is taking notes, dude. Josh is like, hey, I know how to fix this, Madison. Josh loves me now. It's the rest of them that they hate all of us.
Well, I just want to make it up to, Ross Foreman and just say happy belated birthday. Happy belated birthday, Ross. Now, please give us Rohit.
That's right. That's right.
I love you. You're right. I do love Rohit, man. I got some love for Rohit.
Yeah, you're the Rohit mark.
But I love that guy, man.
All right, Hurls. I think it's time to put this on the bed because quite frankly, Impact Dude's about dead.
Yeah, we're running on fumes. Anyways, all right. We'll see you next week. We hope you enjoyed the Heelcast. We are out. Peace.
See ya.